What's going on, you guys? In this video, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin and Litecoin, and we're going to keep it as simple as that. It looks like Bitcoin's finally pushing. We have some key patterns to look at here. And I do want to look at Litecoin because something is very obviously shaping up on this chart as well. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, follow me on Twitter, all the good stuff, and we can just jump right into it. So this is something we talked about 2 days ago when I posted the video. This is on the 1 hour chart. So if we go all the way back, this is about where we were when we made that video. We had a touch on this line here, which many people are calling the top of the inverse head and shoulders, very clearly here. So let's draw that in here really quick so you guys can see that. Shoulder one, head, and then this is like the sloppy second shoulder there. This is the neckline, decreasing there. So it's not exactly straight, but there we have that. And as well, we have this mini wedge with Bitcoin, and we obviously broke out of it. So we broke out right at the top of this neckline here. And as well, I had this line on here. I didn't see this on many other people's charts, but this is a line that I had. I'm going to zoom out and show you why I thought that was significant. And we actually did find some resistance there for a few hours, but we clearly broke on top of it. Now, where are we finding resistance now? Because you don't see a line on this chart to indicate where the resistance is. I'll show you where that is as well. But yeah, let's just go back and I'll show you this line. This line here basically was support. This is on the hourly chart, so this is not as far back as it looks on this chart, just because each one of these is an hour. Anyway, some support here on the original breakout back at the beginning of June. We have some support here, and then we had some resistance, and again, support, resistance, resistance. So that's where this line is. That's why this line is here. And again, when we zoom in, you see it had some resistance right here. Let me just circle that so you can, so right here. Let me zoom in a little bit more because this is kind of sloppy here. Right here was the resistance. So why are we getting resistance here? Well, I think what that boils down to then is when you pull out the ever so trusty Fibonacci retracement, you take it from the high to the low here. We don't take it to this wick here, but the actual low that was cemented for a few hours right about here. So I'm talking about right here, not this wick. You take it to this low right here. Anyway, high to low, and that lines up perfectly with the 618 right here. So you see significant resistance right there. I think that makes sense. To me, that's why we're finding resistance right there. Again, you find support and resistance with a mix of lines on the chart, previous resistances, previous supports, but you also get things mixed in with like the Fibonacci, and there are other things, I have to take into account the RSI and just a bunch of other stuff. But would this breakout continue? This is the breakout target kind of measuring the size of this wedge or the inverse head and shoulders, and the breakout target of about like 14K, a little over 14K. Is that still valid? I'm not seeing a ton of volume. I'm curious what everyone thinks. I hear a lot of people calling for a pullback. This breakout is happening. It just seems a little slower than previous. It's kind of odd that it happened like Monday morning as well. The weekend there was very little price action, but again, that can be accounted for just because of this technical pattern playing out here. Again, zoom in, you see this ascending triangle. If this is the top of the triangle, obviously it was above that, so it's more of a wedge right here. So the top of this neckline of the head and shoulders, and then also just these increasing highs here. And again, it just gets pinched in this one little area. You see the price action get smaller and smaller, and then a breakout. But again, the breakout doesn't seem to be very strong. I guess we have to wait and see. I think it's running into a little bit of resistance right at that Fibonacci retracement there. I think is playing a big part there. And just in terms of technical analysis, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. It's only been about 2 hours. So the 1 hour candle, you can see from 11,849 all the way up about $500 to 12,300 roughly. But yeah, seem to be finding resistance right about there. Again, this is the big breakout target right here up to 14. We'll see if we have enough momentum to get there. I think it's kind of struggling along. So I think we have to be patient because I'm not totally sure how this move is going to play out. This is definitely one of the less powerful breakouts over the past few weeks. We've seen a lot of very powerful breakouts, and this is a very technical pattern here, very obvious. Everyone is tracking this pattern, and it's very clear, and I'm just curious if that's playing into its effectiveness or its power, or like the the real substance behind the move, if it's going to be strong or if it's going to kind of fizzle out. Really curious. Again, you take this here to here, you see right here is literally where there is some strong resistance. And we have not broken that since breaking 14K. I mean, really, this has been a very big zone. So I don't think that'll be super easy to break through, which is, again, why I think, just because we broke out of this pattern here doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to go straight to 14K. But again, that could be in the cards. There's still a lot of momentum. Again, the macro trend is still very bullish. Now, switching over and just talking about Litecoin the rest of the video. On the 4-hour, I know a lot of people want to compare Litecoin only to Bitcoin, which I think is valid. There is a nice pattern playing out there. In this video, though, I do want to only talk about the pattern playing out on the smaller time frames here with the Litecoin USD pairing, not the Litecoin Bitcoin pairing. Although, again, the Litecoin Bitcoin pairing is probably your best bet in terms of what people really want to see for technical analysis of Litecoin. Or what's more accurate, I think people do want to see technical analysis with Litecoin compared to the US dollar. But I think the Bitcoin pairing is probably more valid. But people want to see this, which is why I'm doing it. Anyway, you do have some sort of a triangle here on the 1 hour with Litecoin, or a wedge, sorry. The reason it's a wedge is because these are increasing lows here. You have the first wick down to 109, then the second wick down to 111, so barely. But then you see some support around 117, so significantly above it. And then you have some highs of 136, lower highs at 120-ish, 125-ish, and then consolidating again at 121. So are we going to get a breakout with Litecoin? Really depending on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is potentially poised to make a big move. Obviously, this move is very strong here, and if it breaks the 618, then it could go haywire. I think if it does break 618 and gets a lot of juice past that or comes back and retests it, I think 14K is definitely in the cards there. But yeah, let me know what you think. The entire market is kind of not doing much. Bitcoin, again, really just taking so much dominance. And that brings people to the question of, is altcoin season ever going to come? Are altcoins ever going to go up? I think that's a good question. I personally think they will. I think that the more that people think that altcoins won't go up, the more explosive altcoins will be when it is their turn. I always love seeing people panic about a certain aspect of the market, whether it's Bitcoin or altcoins, because usually when people start panicking about one of those things, that means it's a good signal to buy in, because most likely in the past that's indicated a reversal. So when people are fearful, usually that's a good time to buy. I mean, if you think about it with Litecoin and Bitcoin, Litecoin was $22, everyone was panicking. Bitcoin was $3,000, everyone was panicking. This is only 3 months ago. Fast forward 3 months, and looking back now, those would have been amazing times to buy. So that's basically it for this video. If you guys are new, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and I'll see you in the next video.